Combining Excel's features together can create powerful decision-making tools. Here we have organized data in rows, and with the use of pivot tables, we can quickly add all the wages data and organize it in different ways. If you use pivot tables in such a way, you have a flexible accounting system, which can alter and attack data from different angles. It is a must-have skill in job costing. It can quickly add all the allowances and wages categories together, which then are entered into your payroll system. As you can see from the example data, over time, all this data becomes very powerful knowledge. Weekly time sheets are used to gather wages information from each employee and entered into a form. The form organizes the data and performs all necessary enumerations. The blue form, which displayed here, is what is used to enter the timesheet data to perform the weekly wages. Our week starts Wednesday and ends Tuesday. You choose the employee and the project and segment from the drop-down boxes and enter this on a daily basis. Here we are entering the wages for the week. Organizing the data into segments can be compared to the hours predicted during the quoting process. The data is entered very quickly using the buttons provided. Once the Enter button is pressed, the macros in the background perform all the calculations and send the wages info to the data sheet. The Site checkbox is used to work out the area department which the work is performed. If you have workers on site installing and fitting out, for instance, this is considered site work. If the employees are working in the factory, at a different location, then wages rates can be applied differently. So, as you can see, using this form is easy to adjust to fit the needs of a changing business. User forms and pivot tables are cost-effective ways when implementing new systems. Used alongside generic off-the-shelf accounting packages, a small to medium-sized business can have a state-of-the-art accounting system. As each day is entered, you can check the calculation below to determine if all the information is correct. As it is a difficult task being able to review each entry you make, the process becomes extremely quick and accurate. If errors are detected, you can quickly delete the entry, and by highlighting the entry in the list box below. This saves crucial time, and you do not need to close the form with each entry. Seeing and looking at entries and data in Excel is the most beneficial aspect of Excel. Visualizing and watching data become knowledge in this way is extremely valuable for businesses during their initial growth phases. This is why this system has been instrumental in guiding growth and creating effective structures in timely ways. Turning the fortunes of a firm around using Excel in skillful ways is something every director should consider. This is just one platform which can transform a process into a strategic conceptual framework for further implementation of ideas. So, here we can see all the week's data and all the wages, and daily and weekly allowances the employee is to be paid. Entering the wages info into your accounting system from the pivot table can distill and help aid what can be a taxing process when performing wages in the building industry in Victoria. You can then rely on the data gathered here for further analysis. Tracking performance is the next exciting phase to consider. Keeping track of costs, but more importantly, having a weekly focus on what workers have been spending their time on will aid cash flow big time. When performing a progress claim, you now have quick access to what you have produced in the month by examining labor hours. As we know, a lot of work that is performed when building a project, but which is difficult to ascertain early, can be confidently invoices. Any variations performed will also be picked up in the entering of timesheets. And depth analysis of this is for another time. There is a variety of information that can be gathered from the data we obtain when performing our weekly wages. In this example, we need to ascertain the number of hours on variation 1. Also, how many employees worked on this particular task. It has not yet been invoiced on the progress claims and therefore needs to be included. This is a regular requirement during a project, and it is very easy to complete. The pivot table can easily be altered each time a requirement is changed. The powerful summability of Excel is on display here, as we can add all the hours performed on each segments for all the projects. With a simple double-click on the box with variation 1, we can get all of the data we need into a separate Excel sheet. From here we know which employees worked on this segment and the dates. Just a simple email to the project manager and task complete. Sure beats hunting through old timesheets to find what was missed. Performing a timesheet entry has to be managed correctly, and when data is circulated and analyzed before a pay cycle can be completed, your job costing data proves a valuable commodity when reconciling a job. You can choose any project from the list to have a look at all the hours performed on each segment. In this fictional example, the segments have different hours, with section 14 and 15 not accruing as many hours. We can look at each segment on its own to determine the profitability of each. This can really help focus attention onto business areas that may need improving. As we know, meeting budget means a successful business. With Excel, we can store large amounts on wages information into the data sheet. With pivot tables, the calculations can be performed extremely quickly, so there is no need to worry about data not being able to be kept in manageable forms. The data here is very large, with over 10 years of wages calculations, and we have only relied on a small fraction of Excel's memory. As such, a business can look and examine many areas where it can improve performance and reward success.